Giorgia Meloni, speaking about Italy here. The images coming from, I don't know how to pronounce this, is it Ceuta, are striking and demonstrate once again that uncontrolled illegal immigration poses a concrete threat to the security of Europe's borders. I've spoken with the Interior Minister Matteo Piantedosi. Italy will not stand by and watch. We are convening the relevant bodies, and following these meetings, we're prepared to intervene with extraordinary measures to defend the borders and the safety of citizens, including the suspension of the Schengen area with Spain. On illegal immigration, we will not yield an inch. Defending the borders, stopping human traffickers, and ensuring effective repatriations will continue to be the line of this government. And I reposted this, and I had a bunch of people from Italy saying that this seems like just lip service because she actually hasn't really done much to curb illegal immigration in Italy as it is, which that's kind of unfortunate to hear if this is just her fucking doing lip service. However, even saying that they're going to suspend Schengen with Spain is kind of crazy to me. The Schengen area is like, it's what allows EU countries to have like freedom of movement between them without needing like visas to go anywhere. It's kind of like how you can travel between the States and the US, right? And so suspending Schengen with Spain is just, that just seems kind of weird to me, right? Like, I don't live in the EU, so maybe this happens more often than I know about, but it sounds like a crazy thing to do. Meloni cucked to the Eurocrats almost instantly after being elected. Damn shame. How does this happen? How do so many like right-wing candidates are like, we're gonna fix things, I'm gonna do what you guys want, and then they get elected and they're like, actually, I'm gonna just do everything that the people you hate want instead, fuck you. Like, what? How does this happen so frequently? As a little context to see how bad it is, Spain's prime minister is essentially Spanish Trudeau, but more corrupt and narcissistic. How is that even fucking possible, dude? How is that even possible? Over here, so this is basically what we're talking about. This isn't in mainland Spain, but it is owned by Spain. This is like Spanish territory. So mainland Spain, over here, big. This is Morocco, and this is a little Spanish enclave owned by Spain on the dick of Morocco. And this is where the current invasion has been taking place. And this is also why the Prime Minister of Italy is saying that they're suspending Schengen to Spain. Because even though this is over here across the ocean, it is still owned by Spain, and it is Spain's policies that is allowing horrific shit to happen here. BBC breaking news: about 49,000 migrants enter Spanish enclave of Ceuta from Morocco in 24 hours, officials estimate. And I don't believe that official estimate, because as this person says here, yesterday you said hundreds and the article was low down on your main page, and this reminded the case whilst the significantly larger scale was obvious from social media. So I also don't believe their 49,000 number. 49,000 is a fuck ton of people, but it was probably even more than that. It was probably even more than that. And whenever you have, let's just for the sake of the conversation say 49,000, even though I don't believe that number. When you have 49,000 military-aged men storming your country's land, these are not migrants, these are invaders. And this was a, like, soft trial for the real invasion that will happen. They wanted to see how easy it would be to take over an area. And they found out, damn, it's actually very easy because Spain is not gonna do shit. And here's another little image of the area that we've been talking about. The reason people are invading Ceuta, Spain right now is because that removes Spanish control from both sides of the Strait of Gibraltar. You're going to have the Strait of Hormuz, the Red Sea, and the Strait of Gibraltar contested, cutting off all transport to the Mediterranean. This is how all world wars begin, over vital trade routes. This is supposed to be considered an act of war. It's supposed to be, but you're European, so just lay over and take it. Someone said, I hadn't seen anybody put the Urk Hai music to these clips yet, so I did. Lord of the Rings! It's pretty good music for an invasion. I don't understand how you see something like this and you're not just like in fear of your life. This is an invasion. There's no way to call it anything else. This is another one from Sarah Fields here saying, Spain has now deployed military resources after thousands of migrants crossed into, I'm going to keep pronouncing this wrong because I have no idea how to pronounce Ceuta, from Morocco, overwhelming local authorities. Officials in Ceuta are calling on Madrid to declare a national emergency, saying the border has totally collapsed. The head of the association representing Spain's civil guard officers in Ceuta described the situation as absolute chaos, stating that thousands of migrants were crossing and that authorities could not yet provide an exact count. Spain has responded by deploying military personnel and additional security resource to the area as officials work to regain control of the border. I think they only deployed like 80 people. Like they basically said, fuck you, you're on your own. Like they didn't do anything actually. They'll never get an exact count, and that is by design. And again, it's not obviously confirmed that this is a soft trial for a takeover, but that is absolutely what this is. There is no other way to look at it. They were practicing to see how easy this area would be to take over, and then the actual real takeover invasion will happen sooner or later. I saw a lot of people in comments on here saying that this would never happen in the US because unlike them, we're armed. It's not legal for them to defend themselves in their home, even now. Like, if they attacked these migrants, their police would probably arrest them and not the fucking invaders. Sorry, I said migrant. They would probably arrest the Spanish homeowners and not the invaders. And in the US, do you really think if we had a whole bunch of these foreigners swarm and invade an area, start breaking into people's homes, robbing them, potentially murdering them, do you really think that our police would not arrest you for defending yourself? Because if you genuinely believe that you would not be arrested for defending yourself from invaders in your home, you are not aware of what's happening right now. You would absolutely be arrested. The US is cucked and coping. The people will do nothing. 100%. 100%. The like, there's a gun behind every blade of grass. I'd like to see you try this in Texas mentality. That is all cope and bravado. There is nothing behind it. You will face the brunt of the law while your wife is raped and murdered, and you will just go to prison. You laugh at people who say this wouldn't happen in the US. It's already happening. Yeah. It's just like, we are in a very fucking unfortunate position that I unfortunately cannot even speak my own thoughts about publicly. I can't wait for the politicians to do jack shit about this and just carry on as if nothing happened. I can't wait until they have more strongly worded tweets. Woo! Spain has hot deportation for anyone caught crossing the border fence. 2 weeks ago, the Supreme Court decided that doesn't apply if you splash the water while you cross illegally around the border fence, hence the current situation. So fucking stupid. It's like, you can't even call the people ruling over us like dumb and incompetent because they're doing this on purpose. Again, like Keir Starmer said, your politicians have done this to you. It was by design. It was not an accident. People forgetting that we left the border open during the Biden administration and let 30 million invaders into our country, and people were sued for trying to stop the illegals from invading. Which is, again, why this is just as horrific and why we are in the same exact spot as Spain. People would like to point out, like, oh, they can't invade like they do with Spain because the Spain territory that they're invading, where's the thing, is right on the border of Morocco. So obviously the Moroccans are going to have an easier time going into Spain than any invaders trying to get into the US. They're already here. There's 40 plus million in the country. They don't need to cross an ocean. They're already here. And we see with all of the mass scale fraud, there are people in positions of power that help invaders try to do things within the system. Do you not think that these people would not help them if they were trying to like uproot an entire town? Of course they're going to have help. Of course there are politicians who would assist them. Because politicians hate you, hate Americans, and want to see the country destroyed. They've been flown in. They've been boated in. They have been moved around the country. They are everywhere at this point. Like, this is scary. Actually scary. I don't understand how people can look at a video like this and just be like, oh my god, those poor little babies. They're
just looking for a better life, and we have to provide that for them.
Like, what are you doing? These are people who hate you. Why would you take that position? For a minute there, I thought it was the Texas border. This was us just 3 years ago. Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know. Like, I could not imagine trying to grocery shop like this. Like, my anxiety would be fucking spiked out of my... This guy's, like, leaning on the vegetables. That's disgusting. What are you doing? You can smell this video. This is New Jersey. Yeah, they're having a sale on some fucking vegetable thing, whatever this is. Whatever this, like, green bean looking vegetable is, they're having, like, a sale on it, so everybody swarmed. It's a turnip. No one wants them. Black Friday at least had, like, brawls between, like, low-class individuals you could get excited to watch, right? This is just like, damn, what the fuck? I just want to get my shopping done, man. Oh my god, it's like locusts. And it's like not, like, they seem happy. They seem happy being disorderly and chaotic. Like, they're smiling. I don't understand. This would drive me fucking crazy. What South American country is this taken from? New Jersey. You love turnips personally. Those don't look like turnip. They get to accidentally touch Bob and Vagine. Jesus Christ. Keep in mind, these people raised the inbreeding rate in New Jersey. Insanity. I don't care. This has nothing to do with, like, the race of the people. I don't care. If this was, like, a crowd of, like, white people, I would do the same exact thing. I would have, like, my purse clutched to my chest as I was, like, trying to slowly, like, shoulder move my way through the crowd. It's like, there's no way you're in a crowd this dense and you're not worried about someone stealing from you. That's just, it wouldn't, I know it wouldn't be for the most part, unless it's Black Friday, because everybody likes a good Black Friday brawl, right? But it's just like, I don't care. I would feel just as, like, anxious and weird about, like, oh, someone might try to reach into my purse. Too many people, this is why you don't go to cons. At cons, I am hella anxious. Like, my cortisol levels through the fucking roof, dude. Explosions heard at the border of Spain's Melilla as thousands of African Muslim illegals storm a second Spanish city while screaming Allahu Akbar. Smoke is seen rising through the air. It's unclear what the explosions were, but could be munitions fired by Moroccan authorities to disperse crowds. So, wasn't Spain under Muslim rule for like 800 years before the Reconquista? Are we really gonna let them take it again and have to Reconquista again instead of preventing them from taking it in the first place? Like, I just don't understand. I just don't like, why would you willingly go back into that? Time is a flat circle. If time is a flat circle, I am really fucking nervous for the next decade, man. Woo! Where's the Allahu Akbars, man? You said Allahu Akbar. I just hear whoo. Another Spanish city is being invaded tonight. African illegals break through a border fence in Melilla. President Trump warned Spain to fund their military. They refused. That seems like a purposeful fucking action, man. Oh, there's the Allahu Akbars.
No, estaba mirando para allá, no te vi.
Once again, how do you watch this and not understand you are being invaded and conquered? How is it possible to watch this and think literally anything else? Oh, but Kirsche, all you have to do is be a good person, and then you understand it's not an invasion. You racist.
Leftists hate Lafayette because he owns slaves, and ignore the fact that he bought the slaves to free them and prove he could run a plantation with paid labor. Then La Revolucion took his properties, saying they'd free the slaves. They didn't.
Damn, that's crazy. Imagine that. Leftists being wrong and liars. Huh. So surprising. And this stuff in Spain, like, if the original migrant crisis into Europe wasn't enough to wake you up, if the migrant crisis on the American borders wasn't enough to wake you up, if people, like, shooting and trying to assassinate Trump wasn't enough to wake you up, if Charlie Kirk wasn't enough to wake you up, you're gonna sleep through this as well. And it's not gonna be good for you. Like, there's only so many dominoes that can fall before it comes to a head. Do you remember Mel Gibson's The Patriot? There was a dumb rich woman who sees a ship explode in the harbor and goes, ooh, fireworks? That's what these people are, dumb bitches who don't understand reality. I'm sick of the dumb bitches! Ha ha! Spain is toast, they did it to themselves. And I keep saying this. What good are your principles if they lead you to death and ruin? If your principles lead your society to collapse, of what good were they? If you allow yourself to be conquered, your civilization deserves to die. If we cannot defend our Constitution and defend American principles, the American empire deserves to perish. I don't like saying that. I don't like thinking that. But if people will not stand up and defend it, that is the only thing that will happen. We will go the way of the Romans, and we will be spoken about in the same way. There will be nothing left. Oh, apparently the Angry Birds movie did a kid-friendly version of Camp of the Saints? Really? What did he say here? Kongman said, Main big pig, Pigu Pigu, has a Muslim beard. Green is the primary color of Islam. Pigs invade birdland under the pretense of being friendly. Cucked President Bird welcomes them, gaslights other birds about inclusion. Amnesty International, coexist stickers. This is the most right-wing anti-immigration piece of media in the modern age. I guess it depends on how you think of the modern age, because My Little Pony did it first, actually. There's an episode of My Little Pony about, like, the Yak Nation, and how, like, everybody is trying to tell the Yaks that they need diversity in their nation, and the Yaks are like, but we want to preserve our culture and our tradition. Why do we need to accept other cultures into our nation? And the ponies actually teach the Yaks that it's okay to be proud of their culture and their nation, and they don't have to accept outsiders if they don't want to. I was like, that is the craziest fucking thing in My Little Pony. What the fuck? Wait, really? Yeah. I don't remember what the Yak Nation episode was, but it was like, I was stunned. I was absolutely fucking stunned. You don't want to watch My Little Pony again? You only did it once for a VTuber. Lauren Faust was based. Yeah, you know. My Little Pony even had an anti-commie episode. It was wild to see. Yeah, it's crazy. People want to dog on the bronies, but as long as they're not fucking their pony plushies, maybe they have a good idea. Let's see what this is.
Said you stored your nuts for winter. Burn.
All right, what's going on here? Are you explorers or are you staying? Because if you're explorers, then why are there more of you coming, huh? Not my house again. That's my home. And you know what? If you are staying, why don't you just say so? And why'd you leave your home? How do we know you're not fugitives of the law? You are making our guests feel unwelcome. And you're not asking basic questions. Oh. Maybe I wasn't clear enough.
That's actually kind of crazy. It even shows that, like, you're not allowed to ask questions. That makes you the bad guy. Damn. Angry Birds, I was not familiar with your game.
Your opinion is not needed. Why do we have to agree? Why does it matter that we're not the same?
I ain't good. Is not always the answer. Continue the tour.
Surf's up, you guys. So get ready to hang.
That went well. If you're me.
Dummy. We could really use you right about now.
True. True. That's That's insane to see. That is insane to see. I don't know how long that movie came out, or like how long ago it came out. You can't
The Angry
date the
Birds thing
egg.
reminds me of the video Tectone watched about Shrek being a subversive story, being anti-white and Western.
Really? Huh. I've never thought about that. Koikitsu. That would be a fucking weird-ass video to watch. Hell yeah. Let's see, we have more videos here. Invaders are raiding homes in Ceuta, Spain as time approaches 1 a.m. Spaniards have been abandoned by their socialist government. The military has been given stand-down orders. Socialism in America must be eviscerated. We cannot ever be put in the situation here in the States. It's unfortunate that we're kind of already there, buddy. They just have not organized at the same degree as what's happening here. We just have like flashpoints of Antifa and weird rabble-rousers going around destroying things. We have not had like a 50,000 plus strong group of military men ransacking people's houses yet. Hold on a second. Like, can you just imagine, right? Like, imagine that you are in your apartment or you're in like your house in a non-suburban or rural setting, and you just look out your window and you see foreigners speaking in a foreign language breaking into people's houses. Like, you know you're eventually going to have people break into yours too. Like, this is a horrifying situation to be in. What do you mean, imagine? William Nunn, thank you. You know what, Kirsche? You just don't care anymore. Let Spain burn. These people won't fight for their lives or freedom, then why care? I mean, that's kind of like the point that I have taken, like, as far as defending people online. It's like, if you're not going to stand up for yourself, like, if you get attacked by a cancel mob and you aren't willing to stand up for yourself, why should anyone else? You know? Like, I've spent quite a lot of time, like, defending people in the past that just, like, they don't seem to care, and they would rather just shut up and let people attack them, and they aren't reciprocally defensive either, and so it's just like, why bother? You clearly don't care. You clearly don't want the defense, so let whatever happens happen, I guess. They manage the crisis if it's a temporary weather event rather than recognizing it as the consequence of policies that prioritize globalist openness over the preservation of the nation state. When a border is breached by 60,000 people at once, the state has stopped being a protector of its people and has become a mere manager of a transition. I would go even further and say that they're not like a manager of a transition. They're hoping that that transition happens. Like, this is what they want to happen. They are a willful participant, and if politicians do not understand what's going on, right? If there's actually some politicians that aren't like cartoonishly evil and they're just genuinely fucking retarded, they better wake the fuck up soon, or else it's going to become like Nepal. The difference between the US and Spain is guns. Americans will stand their ground. Hey, look, it's a boomer retard. Hey, look, it's a boomer retard that doesn't understand what's going on. Imagine plenty of Spaniards want to stand their ground, but simply can't and aren't allowed to. Yep. And Robby Starbuck saying something good here. They're all military-aged men, Brian. You have zero survival instinct if you don't see the problem with the hordes of fighting-aged men invading your country uninvited. Europe has had this issue for decades. When the migrant crisis first kicked off, in European countries, you couldn't even call it an invasion. You couldn't even point out, where are the women and children? You would be unpersoned. You would be arrested. You weren't allowed to acknowledge reality in some European countries. It was fucked. And now it's even worse. Do you want them in your home? Now that I say that, maybe you do, but the rest of us don't. They did this before in Spain, and many good Spanish men died to take their country back. Want to guess why many of us with Spanish ancestors have a little African or Arab in our DNA? Many of the invaders back then raped Spanish women as a part of their conquest. You're a fool or worse for pretending to not understand this. And then he's responding to Brian Krassenstein doing the typical leftist thing where he says, these people merely want the best life for themselves and their families, just like everyone else on this planet. The fact that so many conservatives and so-called Christians are attacking them is disgusting. And it's just like, I don't know if he does this because he's legitimately retarded or if he's actually like a genuine malicious actor who thinks that he's going to be someone that will be propped up in the elite class once the Marxist takes over. He's going to be up against the wall because they don't like the beautiful revolutionaries once the communists come to power. And especially if what happens in Iran happens here, he's just going to be killed by the Islamists who also use the communists to help them come to power. So either way, Brian Krassenstein is fucked if anything actually comes to fruition from his talking points. Look at how they cheer and smile and give thumbs up to the cameras. They know that they're an invading force. They know that they're going to conquer this area, and they know that no one is going to stop them. They additionally know that if anyone tries to speak out against their invasion, those people will be the ones punished. They've already essentially won. It's already fucking over in their minds. Consensual non-consent border penetrators are surely no threat to the integrity of our country, right? I apparently ratioed this guy while I was pissing. Holy shit, it's at 10K now. I was like, you're a grotesque amalgamation of subversive talking points in the shape of a human. Like, it's actually disgusting that anyone says this. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a malicious liar or if you're an unintelligent retard at this point. You are doing the same amount of fucking damage. It doesn't matter. It's distinction without a purpose. Connecticut passed a law requiring schools to insert Islamic and Arab studies into their curriculum. This is how you prepare a population for a takeover. And this is in Connecticut Senate Bill number 298. Appropriations and utilizing available resource materials shall assist and encourage local and regional boards of education to include 1. Holocaust and genocide education and awareness. You know, I was being like tongue in cheek when I talked about how I've had like 4+ years of Holocaust education in high school, but it genuinely was that. And so now when I read that Connecticut is going to require Holocaust education, it doesn't even faze me. I was just like, yeah, that makes sense. You know, we live in clown world. What am I going to do? 2, the historical events surrounding the Great Famine in Ireland. 3, African American and Black studies. 4, Puerto Rican and Latino studies. 5, Native American studies. 6, Asian American and Pacific Islander studies. 7, personal financial management, including but not limited to financial literacy as developed in the plan provided under section 10 through 16 pp. 8, training in cardiopulmonary resuscitation and the use of automatic external defibrillators. 9, labor history and law, including organized labor, the collective bargaining process, existing legal protections in the workplace, the history and economics of free market capitalism and entrepreneurialism, and the role of labor and capitalism in the development of the American and world economies. 10, climate change, consistent with the next generation science standards. 11, topics approved by the state board upon the request of local or regional boards of education as part of the program of instruction offered pursuant to the subsection A of this section. And 12, instruction relating to the Safe Haven Act, section 17A through 57 to 17A through 61, inclusive, and 13, Islamic and Arab studies. The Department of Energy and Environmental Protection shall be available to each local and regional board of education for the development of curriculum on climate change as described in this subsection. Now, obviously, all of this is being taught to you by communists, so none of it is as it actually reads, if it reads like a normal text. And if we're going to be doing Islamic studies in Connecticut schools, why is that the only religion allowed to be taught? Most of the countries these men come from don't understand that destroying shit hurts them too, because most don't have the concepts of building and maintaining. They think it was just always there and always will be. It is insane to think about not being able to perceive that consequences have actions. You know, just a little bit insane to me. So we have another video. Fights in the streets between African illegals and Spaniards have broken out as the invasion of Ceuta continues. This is likely only going to get worse in the nighttime hours. There aren't nearly enough places for the invaders to sleep. Don't be surprised if they start breaking into homes and businesses. This was before, apparently, thousands of them decided to go home, which is why I think You don't flood an area with 60,000 plus people and then decide, well, I'm hungry, time to go home, unless this was an exercise. This was not the actual invasion. This was the training exercise for the invasion that will come. And more men will come when they do the actual invasion. Ceuta. I will try to remember, thank you. Beep. That's such a pretty street, too. That's a shame. I love streets that have, like, details and shit on them like that. It's why I love the cobblestones! Yay, cobblestone! Communists love violence and chaos? Yep. Why should we even believe any of them actually left? Because they said they were hungry, you know? I guess they couldn't steal enough, so they just decided to go back across the border. It's now 4:20 a.m. in Ceuta, Spain, and Moroccan streets leading the border crossing are gridlocked as thousands of Africans rush to join the invasion. Socialist Spanish Prime Minister Sanchez told the military to stand down, ensuring the invasion continues. How much more will Spaniards put up with? I guess until they're killed?
أنتم الإخوان كنزيدو نقربوكم من الصورة من العلو واخا مقبسين فين دا مقبسين مهرسين باقي لا قبس لا والو كنحاولوا نوريكم الصورة من هنايا هانتوما ها هذا الرامبوان د الديوان هذا الرامبوان ديال إيبيس هات منظر بنادم كيفاش عامل ها شوف اللهم بارك انا غنزومي شي حاجة شوف لا والو الزوم ما خدامش
It's just a wild thing to be alive and witness. Spain has fallen. France and Portugal better start building walls. Imagine. The rest of the EU needs to immediately cut Spain out of the Schengen area, which allows passport-free movement through Europe. But they won't because they're weak. However much damage the Prime Minister of Italy is doing because she's ineffective, according to the Italians who are commenting on my post, at the very least, she claims she's suspending Schengen with Spain. So at the very least, she's doing more than the majority of our politicians, which is really fucking sad. This is terrible. How much longer can this go on? We must do something. Does nothing. Spain's civil guard chief declares the border has totally collapsed. Thousands of military-aged African men have poured over the border in the past several hours. This is because Spain just gave amnesty to illegals. All amnesty does is encourage more illegal immigration.
Really wild video here. Chaos at the border of Spain's North African enclave in Morocco. This is a city called Ceuta. You're watching as thousands of migrants break through the fence and completely overwhelm the border police. Their video showing huge groups of people, mostly young military-age guys, cramming into inflatable tubes or arriving on shore another way, some of them waiting in the water.
How do I unstuck an object from a cylindrical tube?
As they break through the gates to get to the other side. Sandra, this is reminiscent of kind of what we saw during the open border during the Biden administration through...
Chat, when the migrant crisis first started happening, there was a country that sank a couple migrant boats. Was it Greece or was it Italy? I can't remember. But I know there were a couple migrant boats that got sunk by one of the countries.
2021, 2024, kind of similar to what we saw in Del Rio back in 2021. It was Italy?
Okay, you guys can't remember either. Fuck.
The socialist agenda, their platform literally says they want to abolish borders, abolish immigration enforcement,
Greece, so probably
have complete
Greece.
freedom
Thank
of
you
movement.
guys.
This is what it looks like in another country if they get what they want. Notice
Greece like, I'm too poor to pay debts, I will sink boat.
there is no resistance from the government whatsoever. These people are coming in without any obstruction. And if people don't know, Spain has a very left-wing government. Earlier this year,
How can anyone look at this and think it's not planned? Easy, because they're told what to think. They don't actually know how to think. We have not been teaching the younger generations critical thinking in a very long time. And I would say the lack of critical thinking probably began with millennials. I don't know how bad the Gen Xer attitude is, if they're just like some sort of partially retarded, partially selfish like the boomers. But it's like in the millennial generation, you can see that like narcissistic, I know everything, but I actually don't have to learn anything at all.
Did a big amnesty program for over 1 million illegal immigrants living in the country. They had 1.3 million illegal immigrants apply for that amnesty program between April and June. So that's what we call a pull factor, Sandra. They're looking for something like that. They know if they can just get their foot in the country. Maybe
that is an insane amount of people just bobbing around in the water. This is fucking terrifying. This is terrifying. I would, like, if I lived in this fucking Spanish enclave, I would be like just out of my mind. It's just like, I don't want to fucking die, bro. Like, it's like the only thing I would be thinking.
Maybe someday that left-wing government will do another amnesty program, and you were just reading some of the wires. The locals want an emergency declaration. It sounds like
the ministry's saying no, they will not deploy military to the border.
Apparently they don't think this is an I mean, look at this. This is a total free-for-all.
It does feel like we are looking at a few years ago when you were reporting at the border here in the United States.
Once again, my tinfoil that's probably not tinfoil at all. This is a test run for the takeover. This is a test invasion.
Is happening right now. This story is breaking right now, and you're not just talking about hundreds, thousands of migrants are pouring over the borders as we speak.
Yeah, and again, I mean, just look here. Do you see any women or children? I mean, most people would call these folks so-called asylum seekers. These are all young guys just flooding into the country and overwhelming what, if any, border there is. It looks like there's just kind of a small barbed wire fence or something like that. But you can see the Spanish government was caught completely off guard here, and you have thousands of these men. I mean, it literally looks like, you often hear the word invasion, but it literally looks like one here. Look at that. I mean, you see the border.
I like how he nervously laughed before calling it an invasion, because we've been trained that if you call an invasion, that makes you a bad person. What else would you call this? There is no other word to use. 10 million, or 20.3% of Spain's total population, is foreign-born. As of January 1st, 2026, the main nationalities of the immigrants were Colombian, Venezuelan, Moroccan. Previous data from the United Nations shows that there were 5.9 million immigrants in Spain in early 2018, totaling 12.8% of Spain's population at the time. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same story for literally every single Western country. It was just an absolute fucking explosion in the mid-2010s.
Fence there, they're all just going around it. And again,
the head of Spain's civil guard is calling this.
Going around it.
Hold on.
Again,
they even have fucking swimmy flippies. They brought swimmy flippies to invade. Are we fucking serious right now, bro?
The head of Spain's civil guard is calling this absolute chaos. In a brand new interview, he said, quote, "It's not possible to give precise numbers, but there are thousands of migrants crossing right now." He added,
"Look at this shit, man. It's actually like zombies. Why are they lining up in this wall like 3 lines deep and banging on it? Why not just go around the wall? What am I witnessing?"
That the border
actually like
has
locusts.
Totally collapsed, quote unquote.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. And for folks who don't know where this is a small Spanish city, autonomous in North Africa. It's actually in Morocco, but it is.
And before one of them has a Kirsche plush in hand, please do not violently invade a sovereign nation with a Kirsche plush.
It does have Spanish autonomy. It's called Ceuta. So this isn't on the mainland of Spain. But these images, we've been looking at them on social media all morning. It's just stark to see that there is no resistance whatsoever. I mean, at least in Del Rio back in 2021, when those 20,000 Haitians were crossing the river, similar images to this, you had some border patrol there. You had Texas DPS there trying to stop them. Here in Spain, there is absolutely nothing stopping these folks from wading ashore and climbing the fence.
Look at this. Look at how many fucking people this is. Just fucking hordes of individuals invading the Spanish enclave. This is terrifying.
And Sandra, look at that in the background. I mean, there are thousands upon thousands of these men just flooding the country.
Insanity, dude. Like, what do you even say? They literally invited this to happen. It's so sad. Wake up, America. Democrats want this here too and are fighting to do it. They are. They absolutely are.
Pedro Sánchez, con su regularización masiva, ha provocado una invasión de nuestra frontera que hoy están viviendo en primer lugar los españoles de Ceuta. Sánchez actúa como un enemigo de los españoles. Cada puñalada y cada violación futura habrán sido importadas directamente por Sánchez. El colapso en la sanidad y en la vivienda serán la obra y la herencia de Pedro Sánchez. porque él es el mayor culpable de todo lo que padecemos y padeceremos los españoles. Y por eso la emergencia nacional provocada por esta invasión solo se podrá resolver antes de que robe las elecciones, echando al traidor y al mafioso y sentándole en el banquillo de los acusados.
I'm assuming, with my inability to understand Spanish, he's saying that the Pedro guy, who is the socialist prime minister, president, whatever the fuck they call it in Spain, he's a traitor, and he's allowing this to happen. Pedro Sanchez has provoked an invasion. He stands as an enemy to the people and has forsaken our future. We need to remove him before he steals the next election. All the more reason why Trump has denied all trading with Spain. No wonder. Oh, Nico, thank you. Pedro Sanchez regulations have brought up the invasion. The housing and economic crisis are his legacy before he steals the election again. The only way to make it not happen is to kick out corrupt politicians and mafia. Rough translation. Thank you. I mean, he's right, and it's pretty much the same thing that I've been saying, right? Like, you got to get the corrupt people out of power. This guy responding to that saying, Melilla has fallen after the capture of Ceuta. The invaders have taken control of Melilla and are currently squatting in homes, stealing, stoning Spaniards, and setting cars on fire. Citizens are urged not to leave their properties, to be prepared for possible break-ins to defend themselves, and for women not to walk the streets due to possible gang rapes. This is madness. This is close to Sparta. They're fucking stoning people? Well, I mean, it's one of their favorite pastimes. Why wouldn't they? Oh, this is a hard cut. Wait. I like how the guy's like watching a giant fire and he's just like, oh. It's just like the groan of, well, what are you gonna do? Very curious as to if the Pope will respond. The Pope would probably respond with some dumb shit like, this is why we must welcome them through our borders. Look at how they fight. They need a better life, and as Christians, it is our job to usher them into the light and provide for them. Fuck the Pope, dude. Did the Pope say that? Like, did he physically on camera say that, or did an assistant say, I was making a joke. The Pope did not say any of what I just said. I was making a joke of what the Pope might say, because he's very fucking cucked. I'm sorry if I confused you. She doesn't know. Wait. What do you mean I don't know? Did the Pope actually say something? Hold on. Don't say that. The Pope says fuck effing borders and shit. Don't scare me. I know the Pope is a cuck, but there's no way I would make a joke and it would be actually what he fucking said. Don't say that. My God. The Pope is a Marxist, so you wouldn't be surprised. That's why I made the joke. That's why I made the joke, man. Data Republican here said the Ceuta invasion is being coordinated by Facebook groups, and then added Finn KD, Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, I was like, what? The flagship group description, Ceuta by every route, hashtag Hraga Ceuta. Migration is an idea, and the idea does not die. There are countless posts soliciting people to go with others. This is in clear violation of the Facebook TOS that prohibits content offers to provide or facilitate human smuggling, or content that asks for human smuggling services. The groups that must be banned are Hraga Ceuta, 124.6 thousand. I'm guessing this is 231 messages a day. And then a group thing, Hraga Ceuta, 36,000 members. Immigration to Ceuta, 31,000 members. Hraga Ceuta, 22,000 members. Hraga Ceuta Sapta, 2024 through 2025. So wait, hold on. That means that they've been planning this for a long time. Hold on, wait a minute. Hold on, wait a fucking minute, bro. What the fuck? Why would it be that old of a group? They call it a liberation of Ceuta, a handover back to its owners. Matt Von Swole is on the money. It's an invasion. And this somebody showing some pictures saying, brothers, I think this is a liberation and a difficult one. Hashtag some Islamic scribbles. Hand it over to its owners and God knows best. May God make it easy for them and cheer. More Islamic scribble hashtags. Posters are exchanging phone numbers, maps, and requesting spots to be guided, discussing how to purchase equipment such as fence grips. Haven't yet found any discussions on what they plan to do after landing in Ceuta. And this is a Islamic scribbles. I can't read that, but it's like a little map thing. It's like a booty. You gotta go into the butt. Tuesday night's anal night, bruh.
Good night, everybody.
Hraga Ceuta saying, peace be upon you guys. If anyone wants a place, I will sell it to him. Come on, it is a new one, and they told me, what is the house? Come back to your condition, and I will sell it. This is obviously translated. And then this other stuff I can't read. Why would you be surprised to find out they've been planning this? We know they've been planning this as a globalist plot. It's just surprising to see that these Facebook groups have apparently been around for that long. Like, how did this not get noticed by anyone? That's crazy. Their destination appears to be Centro de Estancia Temporal de Inmigrantes, where they await a ferry to mainland Spain. They do not file asylum in Ceuta, they do it in the mainland. And there's a little blurb here that says, the occupied city of Ceuta is witnessing a worsening situation in terms of managing the immigration file. After the Temporary Migrant Residence Center, or CT, reached explosion stage as the number of arrivals exceeded its official capacity of 512 seats, which prompted the authorities to set up additional tents inside its premises, before they were filled up in turn, leaving dozens of migrants to sleep in the open at the center's doors, according to the newspaper. They're literally in the middle of like 60,000 minimum invasion, and they're still writing shit like, oh no, the poor invaders, they had to sleep in the open outside the doors. What is fucking wrong with these people? That is so fucking insane. The newspaper indicated in its report that 54 migrants left the city on Wednesday morning on one of the ferries heading towards the port of Algeciras, a part of the humanitarian reception program that allows the transfer of weekly batches to various areas of the peninsula. The number of departures remains limited and does not succeed in relieving the pressure on the center, as new migrants continue to arrive daily via the border fence or by swimming alongside the sea docks. A data Republican continues, once they register in Spain, they're allowed to work the day that they register for asylum. And when their application is approved, they get their 1-year residence permit. All deportation orders are suspended, and they have the right to receive Social Security. The fuck is wrong with our countries, man? Decree allows immigrants to work and prevents their deportation while their cases are being reviewed. Once the application is accepted, the applicant receives a temporary residence permit for 1 year. For Khadija, Raid, Mohammed Abdi, and many others, the morning of January 26th, what was the point of even putting their names there, article thing, was different. On that day, the Spanish government, headed by Pedro Sanchez, issued an exceptional decree to regularize the status of more than 500,000 undocumented immigrants. According to the Minister of Integration and Migration, Elma Saez, who announced the decree at a press conference. It allows migrants to work from the day they submit their asylum application and provides legal protection preventing their deportation while their cases are being processed. Can I point out that in the past, if a nation was being swarmed with invaders and then the leader of that nation said, actually, all of these 500,000 invaders, they're just citizens now. They're just as Spanish as you and me. I have a feeling that the people would not let that leader survive the night. Like that is like the ultimate betrayal of your people. You are not fit to rule. And your people will rise up and will dispose of you in a kingly manner. That is fucking wild to see. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm fucking worry torching over here, buddy. To be eligible for the application, applicants must have a clean criminal record, as if they even fucking check. Let's be serious here. Once accepted, they receive a 1-year temporary residence permit and a work permit, and any existing deportation orders are suspended. They are also granted the right to register with Social Security. Minors receive a 5-year residence permit that includes educational, health, and social rights. According to estimates from the Spanish Ministry of Immigration, approximately 500,000 people could benefit from the regularization decree. But civil society organizations put this number at over 700,000 potential beneficiaries. They estimate the number of undocumented migrants in the country to be around 840,000 by the end of 2025. This reality reflects the regularization is not just about a small group of people, but rather represents a political, social, and its cutoff. If you are a citizen in a Western country, whether you are natural born to that country or whether you legally immigrated decades ago or your parents legally immigrated even more decades ago and you're born as a second generation citizen, you exist to work for the benefit of these invaders. The illegals have more right to your soil than you do. They have more right to the American dream in my country than I do. Our politicians have ensured that we do not get to have anything nice any longer. We exist solely for the economic benefit of people who wish to see us killed. It's fucking wild, man. Like, what are you even supposed to say without fucking glowing about this shit? That Republican says, the most likely resolution is that Spain will punt on confrontation altogether by simply sending more ferries and hauling them all to the mainland. And then update, and I think this is what the quote retweet was too. All 5 Ceuta border crossing coordination Facebook groups have been closed. These groups contained 230,000 plus members collectively. You know, that's really funny. These groups contained 230,000 plus members collectively. This makes me think of how it was a small group of Zoomers coordinating via Discord to overthrow the Nepalese government of communists. This is like a look at what they need to mimic a fraction of power, you know? They don't need plans. They don't need to plan anything if they just overwhelm with numbers. The Howie Carr quote is evergreen. Don't treat me like an American. Just treat me like an illegal alien. It's fucking just insanity. Let this sequence be burned into your mind forever. This is what white liberal women will be doing en masse if the left ever wins power in America again in our lifetime. They will gleefully wave in the migrant swarm who will rape and behead them just to spite you. The term suicidal empathy doesn't sum this up in quite a satisfying enough way. Something like a treasonous harlot or Judas whore, maybe. I like Judas whore. That's a good one. And I think a big issue that people have taken umbrage with is that some people do not differentiate between the Judas whores and the white women who are genuinely like, what the fuck are you doing, you fucking retard? Stop it. We're going to need to come up with a new and creative punitive measure for this type of person, and it will need to be harsh enough to act as a deterrent. Hard fucking agree. This is insane. Like, again, I've been watching all of this footage coming out of Ceuta, and it's like, this is horrifying. This is a terrifying invasion scene to witness. I could not imagine being someone having to live in this area and having to deal with this. And this woman with zero self-preservation instincts is just waving these invaders in. They didn't even need a Trojan horse this time, man. They're just being welcomed wholly by retards who don't understand what's going to happen. Like, what is wrong with people who do this? How do you get brainwashed to this point? And like, who do you think is going to take care of them? Like, I know some people are so retarded they think that money spawns out of thin air and that groceries just appear at the grocery store through no labor or efforts of anyone anywhere. But like, this is just insanity to me. How do you become like this? How do you get like this? How do you not feel shame for being this way? What is wrong with you? They're literally doing the Angry Birds thing. They are. She probably does understand. I don't think she does. She is one of the useful idiots that feminism causes. She doesn't understand the destruction her actions genuinely cause because she doesn't think about them. She's been programmed to not think about them because all she needs to do is pretend to be a good person. Goddamn, man. Goddamn, man. The issue is this isn't just some one-off woman. It's the vast majority of Western women across the entire first world, and they'll keep voting for it. Once again, where we thought that like, oh, it's mostly Europeans, fuck all the Europeans, I do not think it's mostly white women. When you look at voting habits of white women and you remove all of the other people, white women overwhelmingly vote Republican in America. White women overwhelmingly marry within their race. I don't think this is something you can say is the vast majority, but yes, there is a large problem with women being one-shot by propaganda and rhetoric. It is not, thank you, I'm so tired of this shit. I'm tired of this shit. Cause it's just like, I understand why there's a ton of hostility, and I understand the problem that feminism presents. But if you're going to throw away all women with the bathwater, you're going to end up with nothing. If you're going to fight for your land and for your people include the women. If you get rid of them, you're not going to have any people any longer. Like, don't get me wrong, you like to make the sips coffee women jokes, but it's clearly a much smaller minority than people think. Yeah, absolutely. I make those jokes all the time too, because, like, it's fucking the problem that we see constantly, right? Like with all of the judges that keep creating the issues, every single one of those judges ends up being a white woman, so it's very easy to exacerbate the problem. It was on repeat in your mind while watching this invasion. It's horrifying, and this is again why I think people should look at things that are horrifying to understand what will happen if they don't know what's going on. Like, you should keep yourself informed. Don't consume things and then become like some weird jaded lover of violence, right? That's rare, I believe. But you should watch things so you know what's happening. So you know why things are the way they are. We have another video here. An emergency has now been declared in the Spanish city of Ceuta, which apparently was wrong. Apparently they never declared an emergency situation. After tens of thousands of illegal migrants break in from Morocco, Pedro Sanchez is refusing to deploy the military to defend the borders. And Stephen Miller said, the Democrats did this to America every single day for 4 years under Biden and will do it again instantaneously, but orders of magnitude greater if they're given any form of national power. Democrats will see your home trampled and stolen by invaders, and they will rejoice. And he's completely correct, but what is going to be done about it? You can't just say, this is going to happen if Democrats get into power, so vote for us while we do absolutely nothing about it. You need to offer solutions. You are the ones in the position of offering the solutions. Basic Logic has a video on women voting and why they shouldn't. My mods have linked that to me and I want to watch it. Obviously I can't do that today, but I want to watch it on stream. Solark, thank you. You just looked up the statistics and you'll be damned. Spanish women are more likely to vote right-wing than left-wing. You weren't expecting that, to be honest. That's unexpected white pill for you. It should be. It should be. A lot of people think it's the majority of the women in these nations, like the majority of American women, the majority of Spanish women. It's not. They vote mostly for the conservative side or the right-wing side or whatever the fuck you want to call it in whatever country you're in, right? They vote majority that direction. The problem is, unfortunately, a minority that is loud. Deportations have ramped up to the point where states are losing congressional seats. Not enough, but more. Yeah, fucking keep ramping up the deportations. Love to see it. Love to see it. But while we're ramping up deportations, Democrats have been instituting weird shit like we just read about Maine today. They're doing everything they can to keep people here and get more of these illegals and more criminals to stay here while we are, like, running on fumes trying to get them out. I think the word is soften? Maybe. I'm not very good at phrasing things sometimes. Martha Washington was vital to the founding of this country in many such cases. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Groom your boyfriend. Groom your girlfriend. Sociopaths are significantly more inclined to positions of power and then abuse that power for their own ends or monetary gain or are easier to blackmail. That's also very true. It's just like the amount of videos coming out showing the amount of people coming into Spain like this is, like I've said it so many times already, but it's insane. Like there's no other word to describe this. This is, reports indicate that illegal aliens in Ceuta, Spain are now attempting to break into homes as midnight approaches. And Millennial Woes, a guy of Evergreen Tweet, says, they're so impulsive, aggressive, and stupid, they don't even have the sense to act peaceful for a short time to lull the locals into a false sense of security. It's like when night falls, it's time to rob, right? But they at least were passing by this lady. You know, they at least knew, let's not attack this woman, you know, we gotta pass her by. So we can get to the good stuff. There's only a 3-second clip, man. That's short as fuck. Oh, he's actually like breaking through the window. God damn. God damn. There are 73,000 active members of the Spanish armed forces. Yesterday, in the span of just 24 hours, 49,000 men from Morocco invaded Ceuta, a Spanish city. The invasion has not slowed down. If you keep up the same pace for the next few days, by the end of the day, you'll have more Moroccan migrants in 24 hours than active members of the Spanish military. How is this going on in our faces? And then some retard here says, hey, look, this is a Spanish territory in Africa, and there's a big ocean here separating them from Spain. Hey, remember how we read earlier that Spain is just going to give blanket amnesty to all of these people, 840,000 people potentially, if not more at this point, and how they were taking ferries to get to mainland Spain? That big ocean doesn't fucking matter, bro. That big ocean doesn't fucking matter. And even if we're not talking about the big fucking ocean, what about the people in Ceuta? What? You're just like, it's okay to, like, you know, kill and get rid of everyone there. But it's mainland Spain will be fine. Don't worry about it. Big ocean, it's just 7 miles. That's even crazier. What a fucking retard. What a fucking retard. Ocean, and it's a literal fucking strait. I mean, I have no idea the distance there. I've never been to Spain or Morocco. So... this is some Jewish guy, I guess, Israel's ambassador to the United Nations. Spain, which never misses an opportunity to lecture Israel, has declared a state of emergency in Ceuta following the crisis over its immigration policy. Maybe before it continues lecturing us, it's time it explained to the world why it still maintains colonial enclaves in Africa. Maybe you should fuck off. Maybe that. Maybe that. Readers' proposed context. Spain's central government has not declared a state of emergency, as I said earlier, in Ceuta over migration, though local authorities have requested it. Ceuta is an autonomous city and an integral part of Spain, not a colonial enclave. I don't know who Keith Woods is, but I found this. Bricks News said just in, law enforcement seen opening gates allowing thousands of illegal immigrants into Spain, and Sneako said the rest of Europe next, inshallah. So this Keith Woods guy said, Sneako is a good example of a common phenomenon. The racial alien who grows up enjoying a great standard of living in the West has no reason to feel anything for whites but gratitude and should be an ideal case of integration, yet still ends up making resentment of their hosts the core of their worldview. Sneako grew up to a middle-class family in Connecticut and attended a private school paid for by his immigrant parents. Yet, he LARPs as a black New Yorker. He adopted Malcolm X and Andrew Tate as his idols because they were more self-assured mulatto men who seemed to assert an identity outside of white cultural norms, and even converted to Islam to imitate them. He has since made his entire justification for his religion that it is the most universal and anti-racist creed, because he is absolutely obsessed with white supremacy. He gradually went from red pill slop content to brown clown leftism because the one constant incentive he couldn't resist was the racial justice angle, which, like most Muslim immigrants in the West, trumps any of the other social values his religion might prescribe. But like many brown clowns who adopt the language of leftism to articulate their hatred, the mask always eventually comes off and it becomes clear the driving force is his resentment of white civilization and cope for his feelings of inferiority and deracination. Interestingly, if you look at the profile of Islamic terrorists in the West, many are second-generation immigrants who come from middle-class families and lived pretty liberal, degenerate lifestyles before a sudden dramatic conversion. And they're typically driven by the same resentment. And I was like, that is a crazy analytical write-up. Sleeper cells. I don't even know if it's so, like, you're right about the like second generation terrorist that he was bringing up, but I don't know about Sneako being a sleeper cell. Sneako just seems like somebody who just gloms on to any kind of rhetoric that he will feel makes him powerful. Keith Woods is a moron. He spent years promoting Sneako. Both are just loser grifters. I mean, maybe he thought Sneako was a genuine person. It happens, right? Where you spend time with someone and you think they're genuine, and then you spend even more time with them and you realize, holy fuck, this person is not what I thought they were. What the hell? You know? Maybe he's just as fake and gay. Maybe. But I thought this was an interesting write-up on Sneako and the kind of shit that Sneako says.